All right, so let's get the class started. All right, so everybody in the classroom ready to go? So on the screen, I have written some information about our current course progress in terms of where we are, what we are doing, and where we're going from there. So we are in week number 3 of our 8 weeks class, so it's almost half. Surprisingly, that things go very quickly. And we are wrapping up module number 2 this week. So in module number 2, the main learning objective is that we are finished, pretty much wrapping up learning the SQL select statement. So chapter 1 and 2 is done, and more. So you have done your assignment 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in assignment 3, you have experienced 2-3 system. Well, I say 2 or 3 is because you have encountered a different virtual environment from University of Arkansas, and you have what is the problem? So what is the question now? So yeah, we'll do assignment 3. That I haven't get into that yet. So I'm just saying we are supposed to be finish out assignment 3 Monday, right? But because of the login problem that we have to kind of wait until today. You already submitted, but that's all right. Don't that's not an issue. So I'm just trying to recap where we are. So let you know what you should be doing, right? So you should finish up 4 assignment already. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. So if you haven't finished up assignment 3, we'll use the time after class today to wrap it up for you. Okay. So if you have trouble with assignment 3, you got to wait until end of our class today. We'll try to resolve you online or on campus, right? So online that well, because we have the Zoom, you can share your computer desktop and we can try to figure out which step or which part that you have trouble with. Or if that's a password problem, I'll just give it to you. And assignment 4 should be very, very easy. You just follow instruction and capture a screenshot. You issue the query. You understand what the query means, and you understand what question you can answer based on that query, right? Usually will be the management questions is if you want to ask what is the monthly sales, average sales. So those are the questions that we ask in day-to-day management environment. You want to report from data, right? So that's what we do. Assignment 5 is a little bit tricky. It's also a select statement practice. It's also single table practice, but I building a lot of difficult well question in there. Let's put it that way, because I asked you to compare. In particularly, one of the questions I asked you to compare between two countries. They're different product, best-selling product. So you have to use a couple of most important skill or lesson to learn is in select statement is to use so-called nested multi-level query. Right? So you have to nest the query in a certain way to get the result. But that is that is not the most smart way to do, right? Because when we start nesting query, you treat the query language as a programming language already, right? So even though the SQL language, we consider that as a programming language, but it is a higher level programming language. And usually the programming language you are learning, C# or Java or Visual Basic. So those programming language, even Python, right? So these programming language are considered in the computer science definition, it's called a third generation programming language. And we have, and third generation programming language is different from the machine language, different from the assembly language. Those are the first level and second level, first generation, second generation, and the third generation. So the idea of generation is each generation you go up, the language become easier, more close to human logic, right? So SQL language is considered what we call as fourth generation language. So it's supposed to be a simple statement scripting type of language. So you don't need to write a very long program to get your result, right? But unfortunately, there are a lot of problems. We need multiple steps to get the result. So assignment 5 is let you experience a little bit what you'll be encounter in real life, because in real life, the answer we want to get from data are usually complicated. So you need to go through multiple steps to get your data, or I mean, to get your report. So what I will ask you to do is try as much as you can in assignment 5, right? Just submit the best answer you can. If you need to do 2 query and compare the 2 query result, that is fine too. Even though that 1 query getting the result is much more beautiful and elegant. But if you get 2 queries, say if you want to compare China and the United States, you can do 1 query in China. I mean, filter out, use where statement says, okay, these are the sales in China, and you can use another query says these are the sales in the United States, and you have 2 results, and you can compare, right? That, which is fine, correct? That's what we'll do in real life. Yes. The data is already given to you. It's a data set assignment. So the question is, am I going to be giving you the data? If you the data set is the same data set you use for assignment 4. So if you work on assignment 4, that will be the Watson sales data, and all different kind of equipment they sell in different country, different method of selling, email, web, and so that's the data set. That's the same data set. But the question asking assignment 5 are more complicated, and so the goal, there are 2 goals actually in assignment 5. One is show you how complicated query can achieve. The second one is that demonstrate how to use SQL function to do more advanced data analytic, do statistic, calculate standard deviation, and that sort of thing, that you can actually do that in query, right? So that's module number 2. Module number 3 is our focus today, and it's focused on the chapter we have from textbook of chapter 3 and 4. Chapter 3 is a conceptual chapter, so my lecture today will focus on chapter 3. And chapter 4 is more like hands-on chapter, right? You'll see the pattern of this particular textbook. You'll have one conceptual chapter and go into a more hands-on chapter. But normalization theory, we will mainly cover conceptually. So even though you need to take the chapter 3 and chapter 4 quiz, the concept introduced in chapter 4 are more important. So that's what I will cover conceptually, hopefully through the discussion we have in class, right? So that's module 2 and 3. And module 3, I'm sorry, actually, module 2 actually has the select, well, not only select statement, but normalization as well. So we are actually wrapping up module 2 today. Module 3 is released today, and it will be wrap up next week, right? Next Friday, until next Friday. And module 3 cover data modeling. And for those of you who have taken any database class before, you know that in database, we use a modeling method called entity relationship diagram, or ER diagram, or simply ERD. So we will use ERD as the tool to do data modeling. And the idea is to do a database design. So we will cover that part next week. And there is an assignment number 7, that asks you to do ER diagram. So next week, we are mainly working on assignment 7. Use assignment 7 as an example to show you how the ER diagram concept will be applied in the real design situation, right? So that's what we have. So before the midterm, you need to submit up to assignment 6, I think, and including one of the assignment called the market survey assignment. And those assignments are relatively simple, so I will not elaborate. You can actually do the assignment without any problem. But assignment 7, I will hold your hand, and it is not due until your midterm is finished. So we have some buffer in between to get you ready. All right, so get you ready. So that's where we are, and what's going to happen. And midterm exam will be starting according to my calendar, I think September 15. So it will last at least 4 days, September 15 to September 19. The time period is specified in your syllabus. So if you look at the syllabus, there's a calendar. You will see the schedule, and that is official schedule for your midterm. But I will give you a little bit longer time. So I'll probably give you until like September 21st to finish up the exam. The exam is not difficult, but you need to prepare. And how do you prepare? The exam is time limited. So when you start the exam, you have about 1 hour to finish out the exam. So the exam has about 40 multiple choice questions. And the multiple choice questions are coming from the practice quiz. So if you look at your Canvas system, you see that practice quiz. I already opened up chapter 1 to chapter 12, but the first exam covered chapter 1 to chapter 6. So 1 to 6. And I'll send out another announcement, just list what's covered in your exam. So take those quizzes a couple of times so you're familiar with the question, and you will see the exact question, but select randomly from the practice quiz, right? So each individual that when you're taking a quiz, you will see a different set of questions. So and why we are doing this random question, because this will be good news is it's an open book take home exam. So you don't need to come to camp. We don't have a specific time on campus. You need to come. You just need to stay home. Get ready. Make sure the internet is not interrupted or stable. So make sure that you don't select a day with big thunderstorm. That's bad. Thunderstorm hit and the network go down. That you're that create trouble. Well, actually not for you. It's for me. That's great because you will call me and say, Professor, my internet goes down. What can I do? I cannot go back. So try to select a time that and place, a location that your internet connection is stable. And then you can start the exam and you have 1 hour. So out of that 40 multiple choice question, try to answer them as quick as you can because you already see the question in the practice quiz. So on that, there are probably a couple of the questions you don't remember answer. That you can go back to search for answer. But most of the question, once you have taken the quiz, you know the answer already. So just take the answer and bring to the exam. There will be 5 short answer questions that I select from your assignment. Say, for example, when you are using the University of Arkansas system, right? So I will ask you, what is the URL for the database server? Right. So if you answer whartonlab.uarkansas.edu, that is the wrong answer. Right? Most of you have done that already, so you know what I'm talking about. But if you answer ess1 .uark.edu, that is the correct answer, right? So that's where the database are stored, are managed by Microsoft SQL Server, not the virtual desktop, not UI Citrix. No. So that's how you that's what that short answer look like. So if you work on the assignment by yourself, complete the assignment, and you can answer that question. And you need a little bit of time because you want to verify from the assignment document or from the system to make sure the answer is correct, right? So it will also be a good idea that when you are taking the exam, you have 2 computers sitting with you. If you take an exam in one of our computer lab, just make sure you have 2 computers. Take your laptop. So if you are not sure about one answer, you can always use one computer to check the answer before you answer, right? So the idea is that if you are prepared, at least from the multiple choice part, you will get multiple choices 40 out of 50 points. So you are getting 80% of the question. And if you can get like a two out of 5 questions or 3 out of 5 question, then and probably miss 1 or 2 in that you got 90% or so, right? So if you got 90% of the points from the exam, you should be getting A, even though that 90% is A minus. But your assignment, you should get close to full credit. So if you get, you submit all the assignment, and the assignment you got 10 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, 5 out of 5, that pattern, then you have close to 100% in the assignments and 90% in the exam. So you will be averaging 95%. You get an A, right? In this class, you will get a B if you did not submit all the assignment, or you fail to do the project, or if you fail to do the project, you might get C. But but you have to do all the assignment, or if you submit every assignment late, then after today, because after today we're moving very quickly to the second half of the semester. We don't have time to recover from the previous week. So yeah, so the chance of you getting a B is that you cannot complete the assignment on time or submit all of them. You can finish out all the assignment by the end of semester, which is October 15th. Then you should be in a pretty good shape to get an A from this class, right? So just to calm you down, And another thing is that say assignment 5 is difficult, and you might not be able to get like one or two question answered correctly. But my grading for assignment 5 will be lenient, meaning that if you didn't cannot get one query to work, and based on the point system, you should get like 80%, but you probably get 95% from me because I can see your effort, and that will be good enough. Right? And the learning process for assignment number 5 is I have two sets of answer that I collect from various semester, and some of those provided by me, and I'll share with you after everybody submit the assignment, and you can learn from the sample query to see how ingenious that other people can do with a SQL query, right? So that is the purpose of learning. So I will not help you to get the right answer before you submit, right? Yes, go ahead. Midterm exam, yes. Yes, there is well, in the midterm exam, there is one question you have to write a query. But that is, again, try to write as much as you can. So that's why you have 1 hour. I suppose that you can spend like 10, maybe 20 minutes finish out all the other. There are a couple of questions you need to spend a little bit more time. But query, you can, well, because it's open book and take home, it won't stop you by working with your friend, right? So even though I encourage you to do this exam by yourself, but if you have a friend want to work on the difficult question together, that's fine with me, right? So as long as you can teach each other and get the answer, that will be fine. Yeah, that's enough. Definitely enough. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's unless you're not prepared, because the assumption 1 hour is enough because the multiple choice questions are coming directly from the practice quiz. So if you take the practice quiz, you already know pretty much all the answer, right? Because you get feedback. You know what is the correct answer for a particular question, right? And if you answer that correctly the first time, you don't need to remember. But you answer if you in the practice quiz you answer that incorrectly, you learn from the mistake. So when you get into the exam, you're prepared. So you go there. So you will do bad if you have never taken the practice quiz. You go into the exam, you're searching for answer. Time is not enough, right? Time. No, it will not be allowed. It's open. It's just totally open. So you can do whatever you want, but it's just a limited time, but random question. Okay. So is that fair? That's very fair, right? So I think that's good. We in this program, in this MIS program, we used to have 16 weeks, and we used to treat the exam very rigorously, and we asked the lockdown browser, we asked the external proctoring, but after the 2 years of pandemic, I found that open book exam work equally fine, especially in a master level program, because you are here not for the not well, you're here not just to enjoy college life. You're here to enhance your knowledge, to learn, to get you ready for your next career. So the assumption is you're willing to learn. So since you're willing to learn, I don't need to hold that strict stick at your back to force you to learn. Right? So that's the idea. I hope that work fine with you, right? Even though that a little bit less incentive for some students to really learn something, but If that's what you wanted, just getting a degree out of here, that worked fine too. So, but hopefully that you will really prepared and get yourself ready for the exam. Right? And you will feel better if you are prepared and not just getting a grade. Just getting a grade is no longer so important. The college grade is like the US dollar. The inflation is so high. Everybody's getting good GPA, so good GPA is nothing already. Yeah, just like a dollar is nothing because things become more expensive, and the true valuable things are the asset. The asset is in your case will be the real skill and knowledge you learn, and in the real world is that the true stock or property you obtain. That's more valuable than how much money you have in the bank. The money will depreciate, but the asset will maintain the value. So that's important. Okay. So any question now? Again, like I said, I'll send out an announcement. I was preparing to do that last hour, but I was running around on campus. Well, actually go back to my apartment to get the my cell phone. So okay, so let's get started with today's question. And I think the most of you online are also my on-campus student, except for Jeremy. Jeremy, I remember Jeremy asked some very good question the first week. So let's see if we can have you interact with me today. So I'm gonna write an answer. I mean, not answer, a question here to start our discussion of chapter 3 and 4. Right. So unlike, I mean, later on we'll open up the PowerPoint slide and introduce the concept and terminology. But here, let's do this. It's a very open-ended question, right? So the question is, what are the problems we try to solve or try to manage? I mean, you can call the management or solve in database management, right?
To
And
solve the
when you
chaos of data,
large,
a
Tejasri, you
large,
say, is that you
yeah, to
saying?
set a large amount of data in a informative manner, the understandable or we have to analysis by the data. So we are taking all the information and putting it into something which is understandable and manageable anytime by retrieving, updating, or deleting.
I'm using abbreviation. Do you tell me? Do you think that's agreeable? That's a problem we try to solve or approach or try to manage. We have a large amount of data. We try to make it useful. Make sense? That's what you're saying, right? I suppose.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. So that's actually very good. But is that the only thing we do? Take a large amount of data. What about small amount of data? Yes. Hold on a second. We're in the class. Let me listen and one more time because I was listening to the headset. Go ahead. So the answer from in our classroom is that we are trying to provide meaning to the data, right? So that's right. So to provide meaning to that. I'm just putting this open-ended, so I'll put on.
And also, whichever the data is available, we are just managing it by using like inputting, retrieving, updating, and deleting whichever the information which we need to do. So we are generally.
So Tejasri is actually talking in. I didn't open the microphone in the classroom because that will interfere with my recording. But she's saying that all the the tasks involving retrieving, inputting data, retrieving data, updating data, deleting data, all these data, regular data management job. So I'll just say data management task. In, let's say, input, output. We don't use output here. Retrieving, inputting, retrieving. Actually, use
updating and deleting, inserting, retrieving, updating, and deleting.
Okay, forgive my spelling. Updating, delete maybe. I use not consistent, but anyway. So, okay, which is valid, right? So that is something we try to manage, the problem with updating, retrieving, inserting, that all kind of thing. That's good. That's fine. Any other response? So is that the only problem we have? Is that the only problem we have? We don't need the entire class. We just send you to an Oracle training class. They will teach you how to do that. By the way, and a lot of us are trying to. I mean, this is the question. This is not related to, but because we have this opportunity to be engaged. This is an engaging classroom. So a lot of you, I mean, former student will always ask me, Professor, especially in the master program, that we are trying to find the best position so you can find a job or move up to your ladder of the position. So it is important to kind of put something on your resume, right? So yes, a master, the MSMIS from UIS is good, right? But then of course our university provide so many certificates, so you can take a couple more classes, you get a business intelligence certificate, or one more class you get a security certificate. That sort of a. So you can do that, but there are a lot of industrial recognized certification that you can get, probably be more valuable that tool to enhance yourself, right? So, but the question is, there are so many out there, which one you should be getting, right? So here's other recommendation. This is, by the way, this is called, and this is actually, I mean, translate this from the Chinese policy, right? So I don't know if I tell you this or not. When I used to be teaching in China every summer. So in summer, I'll be teaching statistics to their college student, undergraduate student. So the Chinese government, of course, they are competing with the United States now in every way. So education will be one important area, right? So if you're in this country, and regardless you think that you should be competing with China or not, you should think about how competitive you are. So you want to make sure yourself more competitive. And this is what the Chinese college education is promoting for the last like 5 years, right? So the one of the things they are promoting is called a 1+M. Right, it's 1+M. One is 1 degree, so meaning that you have to get your college degree. So you go into university, get your college degree in your major. Plus M, M means multiple certification. So their education system is designed the way that when you get into the in university, you get an engineering degree, for example. But after you get an engineering degree, in the process of you taking classes, the university classes will work with external companies or entity and get you real job certification. Say, for example, in our campus, UIS campus, if you are taking process management or enterprise system management classes, you can get a enterprise resource management certification, right? From the class. You just take the class, but that's a very fundamental or entry level certification. To prepare yourself, you might want to get a more advanced certification, right? In the database class, you should be getting something if you are really interested in data analytics or going to the database management as your career, which is very lucrative and in high demand, right? Database management is probably in the technology world entry level, second highest pay in the list. The higher pay will be computer science programming development job is entry level is the highest. And second highest will be database management. And you have security administration, you have system administration that go down the list, go lower. Quality control, testing, consulting system, that go down later. So just give you a hard number. A typical DBA, or database administrator, in the Oracle area or in Microsoft, both Microsoft and Oracle, IBM provide this DBA. Microsoft DBA, you have to pass 4 exams. Oracle DBA, you have to pass, I think, 2 exams to get a entry-level Oracle certification. And each one of them associated has their cost. And Oracle, you have to go through their Oracle University to take the exam. But those are good certifications. So if you are learning the material we are learning in this class, and actually the teaching material I rewrite from the Oracle University material. So you are ready, you're prepared. And so if you are serious about the certification, you can spend a summer that after you graduate, you say, well, since I'm looking for a job, why don't I train myself a little bit more? That's something you can actually learn and get, right? Microsoft certificate, but not Microsoft, database administrator. The popular one, the 2 popular ones in the United States are Oracle's and Microsoft. So get one of those. These 2 will be a good idea. Yeah. Let's go database administration, or DBA. No, that one you have to get from the vendor. So because it ties to their database management system. So you can get, say, a certification of Oracle database management certification, or you can get Microsoft DBA certification, right? So I have a certification from Microsoft called a long time ago, called Microsoft System Engineering. That's a system administrator's certification. I was on my way to get the Oracle certification, but decided, well, writing paper is more important to me. So I think, well, if I go take the exam, I can just pass it very quickly. But the first exam in Microsoft, the question is what knowledge you can get from this course to get the certification. Well, we don't offer certification for this class, right? The question is actually very complicated. But with the thing you learn here, you're good enough to take the first Oracle certification exam. So it's called the Oracle SQL, right? So that's one. And the second is MIS542 is one of the courses required for a certification offered by UIS called Business Intelligence certification. So if you take the MIS542 and then go on to take MIS568, data warehouse and data mining. Yeah, that's one of the course. So if you go on to take that course, if your degree has MIS 542, which is required, and you have that elective, the data warehousing, you get a business intelligence certification from us, from UIS, right? So that is a no-brainer. Just if you are, because in MIS we have so many different career track. So if you're interested in the data track, then that is the course you need to take. The data mining and data analytic. I forgot the exact name of it because we changed the name so many times. It used to be called data warehouse and data mining. I think it's now called data mining and advanced business analytic. So MIS 568, I think, yeah. So let me verify, but that's the business intelligence certification you can get. Okay, let's go back to the question we have, right? So the question now is, well, of course, this is not a complete list, and I just get the question from or answer from a couple of you. And let me put on one more here in terms of what exactly you are trying to be dealing with. What about this? Kind of spinning, it's actually not well, there all these things, all the items we see on the screen are related, but I will use a more official jargon, right? You know, as you probably know already, in any field, any professional field, you're a doctor or you're a medical doctor, or you're a physical trainer, or if you're a like in our case, will be IT professional. It's very important to know the jargon, right? So you need to be speaking professionally. So the words you select become important, right? So say for example that if you talk about Bitcoin, you don't say Bitcoin, you say in general cryptocurrency, and you know use a blockchain idea, but you don't specifically say Bitcoin. That's you know, but like here, so I'm gonna be presenting you one words here. In general, we say how's that? This is actually one of the ideas that I want you to get from assignment number 3 when you go through the process of downloading data, uploading data. And in the process, one of the things you try to manage or maintain is data quality. That makes sense? Right? Data quality. Data quality is extremely important. Garbage in, garbage out. So if you have garbage data, you train garbage AI, right? So it's that is why it's so important. They when Tesla is testing or train their what do you call no man driving self-driving car, then you need to provide data to train the self-driving AI, and that AI need to have correct data. If you provide the AI with incorrect data, then the AI will be making mistake, or will be come up with the wrong conclusion. So that was one case that probably a couple of years ago, there was a Tesla self-driving car hit into a truck during the on the road, that real road. There was one driver just led the Tesla driving. It turns out that the truck was turning right, and the Tesla is going straight forward. And the truck, the what do you call this? This is a big box that they have container. The container, the truck it was towing is a white container. So the white container, when the truck is turning right, and the white color matching the background of the sky, make the Tesla car think that is the background. So the car just slam into that truck and that's because the data provided to the AI training was not complete enough. It does not include this kind of situation. Happened that the truck is painted like a sky, and so the Tesla cannot differentiate that is sky or that is truck. That's what happened. So good quality data in input and sufficient data input are two important things. So in here that I put data quality in here, but more closely, more correctly, let me use the jargon that we use in database management. It's called the data. It's called the data integrity problem. So we want to make sure the data integrity problem is protected. It's correct. There is no loss. There is no duplication. Everything is consistent. That is the data integrity. And there are a couple of terminology about this we're going to be handle as well. Now, speaking on this. From the one of the thing I collect from you, from Tejas in particular, is that we're trying to handle a lot of data, right? So when we are trying to handle a lot of data, the speed of your processing, the speed of your transferring the bandwidth, the internet, the CPU power becomes so important, or the algorithm used to process data become so important. And in general, let's put a general term to that. We are trying to improve two things. The integrity, data integrity is related to the effectiveness. You want to be effective, make sure the data are correct, right on time. Efficiency, fast. Effectiveness and efficiency, these two go a lot of times are has conflict with each other. That makes sense? So this is the idea of trade-off I was talking about. So when we are dealing with a management problem, when you try to improve something, there are some other things you're going to be sacrificing, right? So when should we be improve a particular index? Which one of the indicator, or which one of the performance measurement we select become important. So in data management now, in general, we have these two indicators. One is how fast you can process your data. The second is how accurate, how effectiveness, how useful the data is, how secure the data are, right? So the more secure that your data processing, the slower of your data transferring, displaying. That makes sense? So you want quick, you might sacrifice security. That makes sense? You want to make sure your data quality is protected. You also sacrifice the speed, because you want to make sure that every time we exchange the data, you double verify. Did I get the right data? It's true between human beings. So between you and me, when you tell me some information, I write it down, and I can spend time double check with you 2 times, and ask you to repeat 1 time, and ask you to write it down and check again, right? So this manual process will slow down the data transferring and communication process, but at the same time increase the accuracy of the data we try to exchange. In computer system, that's the same thing. If you have 2 computers talking to each other, your cell phone talking to a server, right? Your cell phone talking to Amazon, there's a communication, there's a data exchange process going on. And so when you are trying to manage how the data is coming from the server to your mobile phone faster or more reliable, these two goals are usually conflict with each other, right? So that is something that we are considering. And why we are saying this? Because this directly leads to our discussion today, called the normalization theory. Normalization theory. So the first thing we're going to be doing in normalization theory is that we need to learn or understand what is the purpose of normalization theory. Yeah. So why we have this normalization theory. To do that, and I'm going to be opening up the slide. Right. So I will open up slide from chapter 3, from module number 2. So this is slide chapter. So I hope you can see it very well from the Zoom meeting, because I'm recording this. If you don't see something that is not clear, and to tell me, because the recording will not be clear if you cannot see clearly here, right? So there's our learning objective. Basically, we're going to be discussing the concept of normalization today. And we will be working on one example. This example is not an assignment, but I will just show you the process of how to do normalization one time in our next week's class. So you have some experience. So in the future, if somebody in your job doing database, they tell you, oh, you should know normalization. This is the third normal form. You should have at least some idea or know where to look for to find out what are so-called third normal form, right? So that's what you need to do. And first of all, let's take a look at the purpose of normalization, right? So that's the purpose of normalization. the purpose of normalization, there are, well, if I ask you this question in the exam, right? The nature tendency of you answering this question, what are the multiple purposes of normalization? You will search Google, what are the purpose of normalization? And you'll get answer. Most likely the first search result on Google will be Wikipedia. You can now recommend, actually, if you are having a computer and feel like typing, search for that purpose of normalization. And they will give you 6, 7 different purpose of normalization, right? But let me just simplify those into 2. Right? 1, the most important original idea of normalization is to reduce redundancy, right? In the old day means that when the relational database concept was invented, that was in the 1970s, and we'll see a slide showing that who and when the concept was invented. So in the 1970s, computers are very expensive. Hard drives are extremely expensive. So when you build a database, the database is super expensive, right? Because 10 megabytes of a hard drive. I remember when I was a student in the 1980s, that a 10 megabyte, 10 megabyte, 10 megabyte, 10 MB, not 10 gigabyte, 10 megabyte, 10 megabyte of memory hard drive cost me about $500, $500. $500 value back in 1980. So it's probably equivalent to like a 1,500 for 10 megabyte of storage. And most of the floppy disks we use are 250K. So that's what we have back then. So storage were very expensive. And so when we try to build database in computer system, mainframe system or mini computer back then, and we try to use as little space as possible to store as much data as we can. So that's why that's the idea. So in order to saving money on the storage, we try to eliminate redundancy, right? Redundant. I'll explain redundancy using example we see on the screen right here. That is goal number 1. Goal number 2 are very simple. That is the reduce anomaly. Reduce them anomaly. Anomaly we'll see again in another slide or in later in the chapter. But later, I mean earlier we talked about data integrity or data quality is related to anomaly. Anomaly means that when you try to do something with the data, say for example, if you have a person, a salesperson, or some customer support try to do data entry, data entry by human being, you type. That data entry used to be a very big job. A lot of people find job by looking at the data and typing the data into the computer system. Data entry job doing by human being is prone to error. That makes sense. Sometimes just 0 become an O become 1, and you type 2W instead of 1W. That's very commonly, and some keyboard recognizes keyboard too quickly, so you have like multiple. So a lot of spelling errors and missing data or something error will go in. So those error will go into the database. So the idea is, can we design a database that is the structure, it's structured in a certain way, so that when you try to enter data, you will not make that many mistakes. All right. So one, there are many methods you have experienced already. Say, for example, nowadays when you are using Microsoft Word or using Google's or anything, and you type something, the system will give you recommendation, right? So you type take exam, then the system will try to give you recommended word for you to choose, right? That way you will not have spelling error. So if you do not have the recommendation, you can type and you might just make spelling error, right? So that is some example of a system helping you to make sure reduce the data entry error, right? So the idea is that can we have something that system design in a way that to reduce the data before we have this AI system, right? This is before the AI system we have. So because of that, say for example, we have to change the input method. So when you try to ask people to enter their address, right? So you can enter the address by purely typing, 155 something Road Avenue, Springfield Road, Springfield, Illinois. You can type. Or a smarter user interface design can do what? They will ask you country first. So and instead of typing country, they give you a drop down menu selection. Click and then there's a combo box what they call, and click and you see the when you select from a list, you will not make what typing error. That makes sense. And so when you try to enter Illinois, you will not type Illinois, but you will just select a button that says Illinois. And so if you force people to select, and they will not make mistake, that will reduce their error. So the idea is that can we build that kind of a structure into the database design, and so you can eliminate the error from human, right? Inserting data is one example. When you change data in there, that can also make mistake. So anytime you do any modification to the data, you will make mistake. So if we design a database well, then you will not make mistake, right? So let's take a look at the example of bad database based on the two criteria we talked about: redundancy and anomaly. Redundancy and anomaly. So and these are typical table that we can see a lot in business environment, such as Excel spreadsheet. So if you go into Excel spreadsheet, then you see some of this table, and just from the survey, if you don't think critically, these table has no problem. There's no problem. You see the first table says order item. Okay, so it makes sense. It's order item. So order item has a number, has SKU, has a quantity, has a price. Well, it look okay. And it's SKU data, it look okay, right? But if you want to be critical, you can ask the following question. Say, for example, following up where earlier we have one of the responses. So you want to give meaning to the data, right? Give meaning to the data. You look at SKU. What does SKU mean? Right. That is actually a problem. Yeah, you probably know what SKU is. Stock keeping unit, right? Stock keeping unit. It's called stock keeping unit. It's one of the things we use in inventory management, right? But if you have never learned inventory management, and you ask people what's SKU mean, they will just SKU. So they don't know. They probably Google, and Google probably give you different abbreviation about SKU. Maybe you can try it. All right. So that is a problem. Actually, the meaning is not correct. Well, it's ambiguous. Let's put it that way, right? So that is one. So same idea that you see the second one. What does that mean by SKU data? And you SKU item. What's the difference between SKU data? It's confusing. That is one. Right? So the meaning is ambiguous. Second, if you compare the table between SKU data and SKU item, right? The second table and the third table on our screen here, you'll notice there are a lot of overlapping column. So you have SKU description, and you have SKU just it didn't say SKU numbers, it's SKU, and they have the SKU description. They have department, a buyer. These are overlapping data. An SKU item has one more column, well, actually two more columns, provide additional data. One is called order number, and the other is called quantity. So those are the additional information for SKU item, right? So the question now is, and because they're overlapping data, why we need to store the data twice in two tables. Right? And if you are a good Excel spreadsheet expert, I hope you can become. If you are not, try to watch some of YouTube video and teach you some Excel trick. Right? And in my career as a consultant, I mean, of course I'm a professor, but I did run a company before between 1910 to 1915, so about 5 years. I was running. Well, actually, my friend from Taiwan wanted to start a company in the U.S. So I was helping him running a company, and that was a business intelligence company, and so I helped him to recruit people to work for him, right? So because we are doing business intelligence, so I recruit people who knows two things: Excel and SQL, the thing we learn in class, right? These two are extremely important, but Excel is more important than than SQL, because 95% of the U.S. company is using Excel in certain form to write report, right? Even UIS, most of the report we do in UIS go to provost, go to the chancellor, are written in Excel, right? So these are the tables commonly you see in Excel. If you're an Excel expert, the way to solve this problem is get rid of all the column in the SKU item, only maintain the order number. Not order number, only maintain the SKU number. Because once you have SKU number, you can go to SKU data, search for the SKU information, right? So this formula, in Excel, it's called a VLOOKUP. You do VLOOKUP, you can search in a table to find the right information you want. So the VLOOKUP will go into a separate table to find the corresponding information. So this process of getting data from SKU item to the SKU data is a lookup function. Now in a database, this is a concept of table relation. So the related table. So these two tables are related. They are related through a commonality of a key. And the key is the column that is common in both tables. So in this case, SKU become sort of like the index in your telephone book, or in your any large table you want to search. And that commonality of SKU number can help you to map between one table to another. So that is how we do things. So a lot of time when we try